It's a bright Sunday lunchtime scene in England's northeast. We're at Maiden Castle, home of Durham women and their WSL 2 clash today with Crystal Palace. A stadium which guarantees passionate support and today welcomes a side from pretty much the other end of the country. Always well supported here. The regular housekeeping well and truly underway. The final moments before the action gets underway. Amy Kerr is our referee today. Palace getting in the mood, led by captain Alison Swaby. A big day for Molly May Sharp, formerly of this parish, if you like. Now, of course, very much Crystal Palace. A 100th appearance for her, the first player to do that in the professional era of the women's game at Palace. And we're set to go. Hopefully the game can be as promising as the weather here. Off we go in an encounter which could well prove to be keenly contested and highly competitive. That said, today's visitors have racked up the goals previously against the hosts, so let's see how it all develops. Both sides are looking to improve on their season starts and have a fair bit more quality to show than has been evident thus far, albeit both coaches keen to stress that the matches they've played have been decided by small margins. The surface might come into play a little today. We are on artificial grass here, different to the normal surroundings for Crystal Palace. Where, of course, Durham, of course, well versed in their own backyard here. And incidentally, the hosts would leapfrog their visitors with victory, a real incentive to try and secure all 3 points on home soil. Palace starting with the ball. We expect a fair bit of possession from them today. Picked off momentarily by Lauren Briggs. Elise Hughes will be one of those focal points up top for Crystal Palace today in what is a good fluid attacking trio. And a case of anywhere will do from Kat Shepherd, just making sure that Palace don't get any early gains. Lambert's throw, and she's quickly met. Sharp challenge by Stobbs. It's going to be a really competitive midfield area today, involving players who know each other a fair bit too. Sharp to launch it in. Durham working well together to get it away. Discipline will be required today as well as organisation. All important as well to try and produce that bit of attacking quality when their moments come. Sharp once again with Stobbs at her back. An intriguing personal duel that we'll see a fair bit of today. Stobbs once again in sharply. And that's a foul on Lambert. There are quite a few out there today with experience which might prove crucial in just taking control of the game. Michaela Foster. Nice ball to release Poppy Pritchard, who's happy to accept the corner, to the frustration of Molly May Sharp. Opportunity for an early sight of the Crystal Palace goal here.
Keeper.
Yanez on the Palace line with the gloves, trying to make sure she can break free. In the end, she wasn't needed. Set play situations could prove to be crucial. Home side well versed in their distribution and their tactics from those kind of areas. The likes of captain Sarah Wilson, Michaela Foster coming up from the back to add a bit more attacking thrust. Stops. And again, looking lively in these early moments. Backed up by Lambert. An important duo for the hosts in the middle of the park there. Tyler Tolland there as well. Both these sides recruited well during the course of the summer. And those new faces settling in these opening weeks of the campaign. It's a Durham ball. Grace Eyre to take, back in the side today. Say back in the side, back in the league side. Of course, she played in midweek in the Subway Women's League Cup round one game against Sheffield United women, a game that was locked level at 1-1, and the Blades prospered from the spot to get the bonus point. Some sprightly challenges going in these early moments here. A moment of concern for Crystal Palace here. Just seemed to be a tangle of legs, really. Alison Swaby just got caught up as she tumbled to the ground. Clearly the concern is that right ankle. A vastly experienced player. Not just on the club stage, but also, of course, for Jamaica. Playing at the 2019 and 2023 FIFA Women's World Cups, scoring Jamaica's winning goal in their first ever World Cup final victory. That 2023 clash with Panama. A real leader for them at the back. A very impressive footballing CV at club level, with a fair few clubs and a fair few countries ticked off along the way. And not the kind of player to hit the deck and stay there if there isn't a problem. Crystal Palace players just getting together here to almost start the game again, really. Reiterate those words of encouragement, those instructions that we saw pre-kickoff, perhaps. Alison Swaby is made of strong stuff. She's a battler. It would take something serious to see her off the field this early in a game. For now, Palace down to 10. Cleared away by Beth Heppel. It will be one of the main attacking threats for the home side today. Ball striking Amy Kerr, the referee, so we'll go again. Palace starting with Van Havermaet, who's just slotting in to replace Swaby while she's off the field. Sharp wins the corner.
Ball 29. 29.
A very busy penalty area, waiting for the delivery. And Havermaet was up there. And Swaby trying to make it her. She wants a corner, which she's not going to get. Now she has to make the long trot back to the centre-half position, but at least she is back on the field. Palace back up to the full complement. Durham just about squeeze it through. Lauren Briggs looking long. Opportunity for Molly Lambert here to try and catch it before it flies out of play. They're clearly targeting this left-hand side a little bit to attack Crystal Palace. Looking to play down the channel here for the likes of Lambert to gallop on, or maybe even Pritchard to race down this left-hand side. Palace now with Veerden. Options gathering in the middle. It's a nice little touch. It was Kirsty Howard who was trying to guide it elsewhere. There was certainly potential in that move. Kirsty Howard, the former Rangers and Celtic and indeed Glasgow City player. It was always shown she knows where the goal is and shown her ability to create and to score. Forward by Briggs. Chased by Lambert. Goal kick. You can hear Jo Potter with the instructions, just making sure that her side is aware of the off-the-ball runs being made. She was speaking in the week about how coming to Durham, it's one of the most difficult places to go in the league. If you speak to anybody, Durham away is never one that anyone's looking forward to, and that's credit to them, she says. It's a tough place to go and to pick up points. Well aware of the battle that her side will face today. Goal kick as the ball rolls away, protected by Hayley Nolan, the Republic of Ireland international. One of those players who was vital in their record-breaking promotion-winning campaign for Crystal Palace. A couple of goals in 22 games. And has shown her versatility over the years as well, wherever she's played. Hoisted forward by Tolland. Well used to this level, having been captain of Blackburn Rovers for a couple of seasons. Enye's working it on. Veerden trying to get in the game. We haven't seen too much of her as yet. Or Palace as a real, genuine attacking force. A lot of the game being played in the middle of the park thus far. Sharp knocking it forward. Van Havermaet trying to release Kirsty Howard. Pattinson. No, Pritchard rather. And now Van Havermaet. Crystal Palace just getting into their stride a little bit more now. Howard once again in the middle, Elise Hughes as well. Van Havermaet for Sharp. Looking to take on Briggs and firing that one across. And on another day, that could have gone anywhere. Really good wing play. When a ball is fired across like that, it's so difficult for defenders to know exactly how to deal with it. And the opportunity there to hit the ball, the strike was relatively sweet, just not accurate. Forward by Stobbs. Chased by Lily McFarland. Briggs covering Howard here. And they're desperately trying to slide it through. Elise Hughes ending up on the ground. Tyler Tollins. Plenty of committed challenges through the middle of the park. It's always going to be one of those games in the early moments where some of the creative players are having to wait for their moment. Another ball in that was searching and asking some questions. Kat Shepherd off her line swiftly. 15 minutes played without a real clear-cut chance as yet. McFarland. Poppy Pritchard screaming for the ball and frustrated she didn't get it. Now a chance for Palace to break. Sharp's ball. Again, this time too close to Shepherd. Only Elise Hughes was forward there. The ball had to be absolutely right, and it wasn't quite. Good work, challenge and covering from Beth Heppel. And Durham find their way out. Briggs robbed of the ball by Sharp. Van Havermaet will pick up the scraps. She's looking to try and fizz it in towards Veerden. And it bobbles and bounces away. Just been a few moments there where Durham have tried to play their way out from the back and Crystal Palace have swarmed on them. Van Havermaet trying to get Veerden into the game. Van Havermaet scoring herself last weekend. And Veerden, of course, on target in the week. Kirsty Howard doing her best to try and hold off the advances of Tyler Tollins. Annabelle Blanchard. As Palace look to get into their stride here, it's a lovely turn from Veerden. Trying to get into space and poke it through to create an opening. Now the pendulum swings the other way. Opportunity for the counter from Molly Lambert. Just needed a bit more support than she had. Away by Sharp. Joe Potter was talking about the scoreline in midweek against London City Lionesses, saying how disappointed she was because she thought that Palace were actually excellent in the first half, felt that they did enough to get something from the game, felt they looked really threatening going forward, the structure of the side was good. Very proud of each and every player because of the improvement they'd made in the last few weeks, the commitment of the players too. But from a 2-1 win at the weekend, it was a 2-1 loss to open up the Subway League Cup campaign. Briggs with a header down for Lambert.
Slide across, balls in, slide across, reconnect. Connect in, Briggsy, talk to Mickey.
Fearden. The minute she picks up the ball, she has Grace Eyre right there with her. Pritchard putting the pressure on. Nicely worked by Swaby, who does seem to have knocked or shaken off that early knock. Blanchard. Plenty of potential in this attack, which is eventually seen out by Tyler Tolland. Well, they're trying to get those crosses in at every given opportunity. Abby Larkin this time looking for those in the middle. They're joined by those from the back for this Palace corner. Fearden fancies it short. And she gets it here. Plenty to aim at in the middle. It's a decent header and a really good stop. Kat Shepherd would have seen that late through the crowd and just managed to get a hand to it to turn it away. The first big moment in the game going Crystal Palace's way. No one came out to close down the short corner, and Shepherd did really well. Palace go again. Sharp just unable to shake off the advances of Layla McFarland. Well, we always thought that there'd be so much going on in the middle of the park. Certainly Palace having a bit more joy in the opposition penalty area than the hosts. Just a sign that the game is turning in Palace's favour at the midway point of the first half. Air back to Wilson. Foster and Briggs on towards Lambert, who gets it back. Lovely flowing move from Durham. Pritchard was being pulled back all the while.
Go for it. Beth, go for it.
And this represents a good solid opportunity for the home side.
On off if you're doing it. Your call, Wilsey.
Foster and Heppel considering their options here.
Just have a look, just have a look.
It is in from Foster. Nice delivery too. Blanchard saw it away. Heppel applying the pressure. It's back with Michaela Foster. Swinging it over. And a header which had the right direction, just not quite enough power to really cause Crystal Palace any issues. And immediately the visitors go on the attack. Vierden launching it forward. Unable to find Molly May Sharp. Here's Shepherd, who made that super stop a few moments ago. That'll be a free kick to Durham. Lovely ball this was by Michaela Foster. And arriving late was Layla McFarland. Shea Yanez just delighted to see the ball drop where it did and plunge upon it. Well, you almost sense that Crystal Palace chance a few moments ago, well saved by Kat Shepherd, has seen Durham spring into life themselves.
Stop anything that comes.
And Foster, having swung the ball over a few moments ago, will now look long from this throw-in. Plenty behind that, and a decent flick as well. Grabbed before anyone else could cause some issues. Super delivery from both sides now in different ways from Michaela Foster. And for the time being has returned back to her default setting.
Stay narrow, stay narrow, stay narrow. Now you can go.
Palace's turn to try and create. Sharp. Once again picked off by Durham. No free kick for them there though. Abby Larkin trying to find a way through two in blue. Swaby taking her time, helped out by Nolan.
Back line together, get your line set. Keep it here then. Pop then, slide, pop, slide, pop, slide. Drop in, drop in. That's good.
Chance for Palace to step out from the back. Not a good ball though. And now Heppel, who's one of those we've not seen an awful lot of in the game so far from a Durham point of view. Certainly carries a real threat. 2 goals already this season. In the defeat against Sunderland and likewise against Charlton. Last 2 league games have ended 2-1 against Durham. That'll be a Palace ball. Indeed, the River Wear derby last Friday night. Durham losing out to Sunderland. Emily Scarr heading Sunderland into a 53rd minute lead. Katie Kitching doubling their advantage with 85 minutes on the clock, smashing home from outside the box before Michaela Foster's corner was diverted home by Beth Heppel for what proved to be a mere Durham consolation a couple of minutes from time. Pritchard, one of those who was lively throughout the game. Ollie Lambert pulling the strings in midfield, but in the end to no avail. Well, that could be a problem and had to be dealt with. Classic case of anywhere will do to make sure that nothing untoward happened. Nolan tangling with Pritchard. The two 15s toe-to-toe.
Shut the gap in here, shut the gap, move, come across. Follow the spin, Amber, follow the spin.
Howard. Always looking to bring others into play. Veerden it is who, once again, is getting little change out of Grace Eyre. Heppel calms it all down.
Grace, back in. Roll back, Grace, roll back. Keep the ball. Grace, roll in. Think where you get out again, good, good, pin up. Pops, you got to stretch him. Good, go, Pops.
Briggs.
Still here, still here, still here, she's dropped.
Back for Foster. All the way through to Yanez, who clears the lines. So good to see supporters of various ages here today. Some very young, indeed almost babes in arms, being brought up to support their side. Durham have been hosting a junior tournament before this game today with some under-10s and under-12 sides, so the next generation being brought on.
Well done, Mickey, great cover. Play him, come on, Pops, on her, that's you. Good go, on again. Yes, good, come on.
Hayley Nolan leaving the throw this time for Sharp.
Follow the spin, Briggsy. Try, Poppy, get your body there, get your body there. Step two, step two.
Van Havermaet.
Step two.
Right as far as Blanchard. Just trying to slip it through. We've had a few of those passes now, Crystal Palace, that have come close to coming off. Forward by Shepherd. Once again, it comes back at Durham here. Chance to hit it as well. A strike which didn't really have anywhere near enough on it. Abby Larkin finding a bit of room, finding the target, but she's capable of being far more threatening than that. Former Glasgow City player. Started her career at Shelbourne, scoring on her debut at 16 years of age.
Just go with that one, Amber, go with that one. Scan as you come, Briggsy, late one coming. Just roll back in more.
She's just hovering again here as another Palace attack builds.
Up, Briggsy, scan. Make it come scan again. Good, Poppy, go on, you got it. Watch the long, watch the long.
Van Havermaet for Nolan. Sharp.
Go, 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 go. Are we going to have that squad in? Scan. Briggsy again, one.
Van Havermaet once more.
Get your zone set.
Crossing opportunity for Sharp maybe.
Out, out. Briggsy,
Durham see it away as far as Blanchard, who gets it right back into the mix. And Shepherd stood strong. She had to. Molly May Sharp was galloping in onto that. It was a ball that seemed destined for someone in Palace yellow. And Sharp was there trying to squeeze it in. Starting to see the chances come now. Crystal Palace. A little over 10 minutes to go to the break. Corner right through the crowd. No one really took charge of it. Swaby. Bearden hitting it. Just struggling at times to get past the first player. And on this occasion was Amber Stobbs. Another long throw, this time from Sharp. Just caught Stobbs, I think, on the way through, looking for the ball. McFarland trying to help it away from Durham's point of view. And the referee bringing the game to a halt for a moment because Stobbs is down and in some pain. Didn't seem to be too much in the challenge, just a coming together, but that doesn't stop it being a painful one. Formerly of Palace, of course, a key part of Dean Davenport's side in the Women's Championship as it was known then. Played 17 times in all competitions during the 2020-2021 season that was, of course, heavily disrupted by the coronavirus pandemic. Back up and running now, as indeed here on the ball are Palace momentarily. And you might say that Durham have enjoyed the success in this first half from the defensive organisational side of things, keeping things relatively tight, albeit chances have been afforded to Palace that haven't been taken. It's a case of whether those in blue can really force themselves onto Crystal Palace from an offensive point of view as the game goes on. Might be a chance here to show what they can do. Lambert. Well, she can cause so many problems for teams in the final third. When she's attacking herself, when she's creating for others. Palace trying to slide it through once again. Those final balls not quite making it to their destinations. Durham struggling to get rid of it. Briggs caught on the play. Trying to play it out from the back, this time taking no chances. So the familiar faces will wander forward from the back for Palace here. Corner taken short. Bearden heavily involved again. And Grace Eyre shepherding it back towards Kat Shepherd. He has a problem here as well, the Durham goalkeeper, which will be a real concern. whether she hurt herself when diving to collect that ball. Just wonder whether she tweaked something there while gathering it in, or perhaps trying to get her side on the counter. Anna King is the substitute goalkeeper for Durham today. Just starting to warm up just in case. As you can see, the numbers very much underline that it's been Palace's game in all but goals. More shots, more on target, and pretty much a 60-40 possessional advantage. They've not been sparkling, but they have been more imposing than their hosts. I'd suggest we'll have a decent wedge of added time at the end of this half as well, after the bumps and bruises picked up by Alison Swaby and now Kat Shepherd. Those who've just made a break for it to get a quick drink, urged to return to their positions by referee Amy Kerr, who last refereed Durham, incidentally, in February of this year. She oversaw that crazy 3-2 win over Blackburn Rovers, a game that gave us a little bit of everything. This match has the potential to do something similar. I mentioned the defensive organisation from Durham so far. It's important to underline that past encounters between these two have been one-sided affairs, with Crystal Palace banging the goals in.
She's coming now. She's coming now. Coming late now, Briggsy.
Cross in, which just absolutely took off there. Hugely overhit. Always interesting when a side is on top in a game to see whether they end up getting frustrated and trying to force the issue. Crystal Palace will feel satisfied with some of their attacking play in this first half, no doubt about that. Just trying to add a bit more composure maybe. Here go Durham, trying to make their impression on the score sheet. It all ends rather abruptly as a Crystal Palace goal kick. Sharp. Been very much hugging this right touchline, trying to make things tick for Crystal Palace. Larkin's ball back. Van Havermaet. Virden managed to break free. Grace Eyre recovered her position and composure. And the offside flag, I think, eventually brings the game to an end in favour of a Durham free kick.
Pin them all. Pin the big one.
Forward by Shepherd. Seemingly okay after tumbling to the ground a few moments ago. In some ways, the last thing she would have wanted there was a free kick to hit long. Here go those in blue. Lambert. Heppel calling for it. Instead it goes back towards Foster.
Stop it. Good, Grace.
In steps Grace Eyre. Ball just didn't have any height on it as it came into the box.
Watch him quick, watch him quick.
It's another attack that had Crystal Palace firmly on the back foot, but without an end product.
Concentrate! Go! Yes, well done! Yes, if you want!
Durham ball as we approach the added time at the end of this first half.
Yeah.
We're going to have a minimum of 4 added minutes. And Durham will start those with a Michaela Foster throw-in. A short one this time. Heppel trying to launch it into the box. She just missed everybody in blue. No one gambled at the far post.
Concentrate, come on, here we go! Lock up, pick up! First second. Send it back! Come on, Blue Wing, come on, here we go!
Official has indicated a minimum of 4 additional minutes. 4 additional.
Up and away from Palace. Howard trying to make it hers. Van Havermaet as well. Lovely spin away. But enough blue shirts back to quell the threat. McFarlane back to Briggs. Stobbs now. Energetic end to the first half from Durham in an attacking sense. No messing around from Poppy Pritchard. Blanchard's touch, Van Havermaet trying to make it stick. McFarlane's pass was very loose. Veerden strikes it! That's a real warning to Durham. Just a little bit casual in the middle of the park and all of a sudden you can be in big trouble. Ashley Veerden can certainly hit them, and it wasn't too far away from that bottom corner. Kat Shepherd knew it. And that would have undone a fair bit of defensive good work for the hosts. Swaby's header sorted out by Jamie Lee Napier. Blanchard now. Nolan and Swaby again. We've had 3 of the minimum 4 added minutes. And very shortly, the 2 head coaches will get their chance to have words with their players. Maybe some tactical tweaks. Maybe some words of encouragement. Maybe some stern words. Blanchard galloping on. Stobbs trying to stop her from going anywhere anytime soon. This will be the last throw of the dice, you'd think, in this first half. Crossing from Sharp. And an easy claim for Shepherd. And that is that. First half brought to a close. Crystal Palace certainly the stronger of the sides, but they haven't been able to turn their possession into anything tangible. Durham have had their moments and have tried to create at the other end, but they've stood strong defensively, and that's really important for them at this stage. We'll see what the second half brings us shortly, but for now at the break it's Durham 0, Crystal Palace 0. Goalless at the break, although Crystal Palace have tried their level best at times to break the deadlock. We've seen flashes from Durham as well. No changes to either side at half-time in terms of personnel. Whether the tactics have been changed a little or not, I'm not sure. We'll wait to see as this half develops. Swaby's header. It drops for Heppel. Trying to slot it forward for Lambert. Well, an interesting coming together, let's say, from the experienced Alison Swaby, having a grab at Molly Lambert. And certainly those of a Durham persuasion, including Adam Furness on the touchline, felt this was good enough for a penalty. It may have just been outside the box when it started. On another day, you might well have seen someone point to the spot there.
Oh my God. What the?
Veerden's pass. Van Havermaet after it now. That might just sting Crystal Palace into a bit more decisive action. A real scare right at the start of the second half. Options in the middle here, including Larkin, including Hughes. Larkin gets the touch.
Adam.
And somehow it's ushered away. Palace are screaming for a corner. The ball goes in favour of Durham. It will just breathe a huge sigh of relief that they haven't conceded the opener.
Yeah, add.
2 minutes played in the second half. We've had a penalty appeal and a close call at the other end. Maybe a little bit more urgency in the second half means that from a neutral's point of view, the game's going to spring into life.
Great scan.
It's a good enough watch in the first half, but things may be about to develop a little more clearer from these two sides as the second half unfolds.
Get out to down the side. Jack, it's a 3. They've moved to a 3. That's what we thought.
Into the box it goes. It's off Briggs. Heppel trying to swing it away. Likewise, Sarah Wilson. Problem here for Beth Heppel, who just got caught as she tried to swivel to get rid of the ball.
Get him to match. Get set!
Head the ball, Blue! Come on!
In comes the corner, right under that crossbar, and Shepherd once again had to be really alive to the threat there. Plenty of power behind the hit. Shepherd can't hold it. Palace score, but the flag's up. Well, they thought they'd got the breakthrough. It was a really good pounce on the parry, but the flag was up immediately to stop the celebrations. Veerden Seeing more of the ball in the opening few minutes of this half than in the start of the first half. Pritchard making Swaby hurry. It was a really good hit through the crowd before the ball was parried by Kat Shepherd. Both sides looking lively since the break. Tolland with the challenge. There were a couple of little nibbles on the way through there. Van Havermaet being called over for a quick word. It's going to be Blanchard to take.
That's coming in. Pick her up. Next one coming in. Two more in. Two more in. Got to get your block on. Grace, one behind you. Grace, jump one.
Adam Furness
Grace, jump one.
trying to get instructions onto his side to make sure they're marking up. Crystal Palace with a few of their central defensive options just arriving a little late into the box to try and get in undetected. Pinged in once again. What a header that was.
Pick up the big one.
And Durham were helpless as that flew towards goal. In it goes again towards Elise Hughes. It's a blockbuster start to the second half from both teams here. Palace knocking on the door once again. Ashley Verdon. Hughes trying to lay it off. Manages to keep it. Larkin's effort. And just fizzes wide of the post. Quite a few panicky moments at the start of this second half. Brilliant header. Shepherd was beaten. It just pinged the post. Justine Van Havermaet brought in for her technical ability with the ball with her feet, but also her height. An ability to impose herself in the middle of the park and at set play situations. Heppel. Body's tumbling off the ball. Heppel goes again here. Two to look for in the middle. Couldn't quite pick out either Stobbs or Eyre, who had made their way into the centre. So congested in that 6-yard box. It's where the ball is heading. Lambert tries to help it back into the danger zone. Breakaway led here by Verdon, who looked up to see Elise Hughes through the centre. Given a good old-fashioned shove. And the free kick taken too quickly for Amy Keir's liking. Well, this is the moment when Palace thought they'd taken the lead. Really good strike by Jamie Lee Napier. And Shepherd couldn't hold it. But just as they wheeled away, they knew the flag was going to halt their celebrations.
Hey, make sure you follow second phase. Track everybody. Grace, double over. One down the hole.
Shouts to encourage defensive organisation here. In from Blanchard, all the way through, and away from Alison Swaby's despairing grasp. Well, both sides coming close since the half-time break. Just needs that little bit more composure with the final ball in.
Great seconds. Come on, we've got to get this. Come on, we've got to get them seconds. Switch on.
Palace ball. Van Havermaet leaves for Jamie Lee Napier.
Track the runner then.
Veerden. Once again, just unable to thread it through. Swaby trying to take the ball away from Pritchard, who's found a way for Durham to gallop on. It was a really heavy-handed pass, though, from Layla McFarland. That quality in the final third, once again, just not quite there. Yanez with the ball for Swaby again. Napier. And Heppel now, as the ball flip-flops from one side to the other. Stobbs. Wanting a bit more from those in front of her in terms of movement. Poppy Pritchard, the main player through the middle there. He, of course, was on loan at Palace last season, 5 appearances on loan from Manchester City. Back where she grew up in a footballing sense now, of course, having come through the ranks at Durham. Here's Stobbs. Heppel arriving late on the scene. Grace Eyre to take. The pressure applied there by Ashley Veerden made the difference for Palace. We're almost at that point where head coaches will look over their shoulder and weigh up the options they have on their bench. Durham with the 9 substitutes today, Crystal Palace with just the 7. You wonder if headlines might be made by Lucy Watson, formerly of Crystal Palace on loan from Chelsea the season before last. She's on the Durham bench today. Away by Foster, who provided some genuine attacking threat in the first half for Durham, with crosses into the box and long throws. Stobbs stepping in to win the ball back. Eyre under pressure from Van Havermaet. Elise Hughes. She wants it back as well and gets it here. Napier screaming for it. Now she's got it. Veerden. Grace Eyre trying to stay strong. Veerden's past her though. It's an almighty scramble. Kat Shepherd with the safe hands in the end. Poppy Pritchard wins the throw. Talked about a few players who've got a intriguing footballing story behind them. Kat Shepherd, of course, born in New York, moved to Portugal, played for Sporting Lisbon, signed for Durham this summer. Played for Sporting in the UEFA Women's Champions League against Real Madrid. Now finds herself here as the number 1 for the Wildcats, albeit wearing 35. Hour mark fast approaching. Both sides really, through this period, struggling to keep hold of the ball at the moment, which makes the game scrappy, but also gives it that air of jeopardy. And let's be honest, you look back through history, March 2024, Durham 1, Crystal Palace 5. September 2023, Crystal Palace 9, Durham Women 1. And with an hour gone here, it's goalless. There have been some huge wins for Palace in second-tier matchups with the Wildcats in the past. Here they come in blue, though, led by Molly Lambert. Beth Heppel trying to break free in the middle. McFarland can't get it through, has to scrap for it and does well to do so, and then hits one! But the whistle is gone. And there was a bit of grappling as she tried to make her way through. Just for a moment you wondered if that was Durham's moment. She was clearly grabbing the shirt. It was the right call, although it was a very nice strike. Worth pointing out as well, the Crystal Palace goalkeeper had heard the whistle and wasn't committing to the save. And so to the other end. Crystal Palace's turn to apply the pressure.
Front delivery. Got to get a good contact. Layla, you okay?
Both head coaches just checking in on a few players, working out whether changes need to be made.
Set it if you want. Go on. Just get your distances right. Found a finish. Found a finish.
Go backwards. Well done, you've done the first bit well. Done the first bit really well. Come on!
Next, again.
Get in your zone, body shake! Organise early again! Get set up, tight! Win your first! Tight up! Come on, Blue! Get your block on, you've got to wrap him! You've got to wrap him! Come on, Blue! Second step! Step! Yes, please. Yes, please.
Hit by Nolan. Sharp trying to find a way through the crowd. Very much a backs against the wall job for Durham from that Crystal Palace corner. This time taking the low road, away by Beth Heppel. Movement on both benches now as the two head coaches consider a change. Looks like we might be about to see Hannah Blake for the home side. No way through for Kirsty Howard.
Layla, jump up one.
Van Havermaet strike, always bending the wrong way. Indeed, now the change is going to be made. It's going to be Hannah Blake to come on and Poppy Pritchard to make way. Poppy Pritchard applauded by players from both sides, fans of both sides as well, having been a Palace player last season and back in the Durham ranks this time round. A chance for Hannah Blake to make her mark. London born against the side from the capital. Raised in New Zealand though, and also lived a chunk of her life in the US.
Grace, connect with Wilsey. Keep your shoulders open.
Crystal Palace ball.
Get up! Get up! Up again! Still yes! Up again! Midfielders, lock on!
Napier making herself free. 3/4 of the way through the game. Still, we await the breakthrough. They'll start from the back. Crystal Palace here with Swaby. Heppel now. Caught by Larkin.
Spin. Spin. Go, go, go. Come on, Mo, you're in!
Easy decision to give the free kick,
Stop early one, stop early one.
as Ashley Bearden has a few words with Joe Potter. Potter said recently that
Good, stay up, stay up.
you can tell that Crystal Palace is growing as a force. We're trying to play a certain way. It's going to take a while, but it's coming together nicely. How she would love her side to get the breakthrough here. Durham trying to get Lambert away.
Resetting then.
One of those who was very much to the fore in their
Be aware.
positive moments of the first half. Swaby under pressure here from McFarland. Hughes. Lovely ball forward for Howard, who just wondered if she could lift it over Shepherd. Both sides have tried the passing, composed approach to the game. Starting to see a little more route one from both now. Ultimately, there is more than one way to win a football match, of course. And it might be something a little more remedial that actually wins the day for either of these sides today than a flowing passing move. Durham starting to get a little stronger. Heppel, McFarland on the charge. Swaby just managed to get back at her. Break in play here because Kat Shepherd is down again. She was on the floor in the first half with a problem. Just wonder whether it's the same issue. It's also a break in play with 20 minutes to go that just gives Adam Furness and Joe Potter a chance to get hold of their sides. Other substitution options may well be considered. We're at Maiden Castle, of course, today, a ground with a capacity of around 2,500, part of Durham University. And Durham Women's Football Club benefit from that unique partnership with the university, giving them access to the state-of-the-art training facilities here. That paints a picture of the second half, doesn't it? Pretty much dead level in all aspects of the pitch. If the statistics were to stay that way, there wouldn't be too many grumbles with it being a draw. Albeit Palace will look to those opportunities that went begging in the first half and the start of the second. Palace to start again then. Swaby to Napier, being pestered by Heppel. You can sense as the time ticks by that the press from the home side, the instructions from the touchline are getting more aggressive, more hopeful maybe of turning 1 point into 3. Joe Potter certainly arrived here wanting all 3 points for her Crystal Palace side. And knowing it was going to potentially be a tough challenge. You just wonder when or if either head coach will say this is a good point and try and keep things really tight. It's the polar opposite of Crystal Palace's game a couple of weeks ago, of course, against Southampton, which ended 4-4. Couple for Abby Larkin that day, Justine van Havermaet on target as well, Ashley Veerden with the 4th goal. All of those strikes coming within the first hour. Blanchard. And it's saved by Shepherd. Seemingly fine after the recent knock. McFarland, who's been released more through the middle now after the departure of Pritchard. Veerden holding off Heppel. No nonsense from Foster.
When it comes this side, pull Blakey with you. Don't leave her out there.
Shepherd gathers right in front of Kirsty Howard.
Well done, Blue.
She bagged her first goal in Palace colours last weekend. Kirsty Howard against Nottingham Forest women. A 2-1 victory at the City Ground. First half goals from Howard and from Justine van Havermaet. 2-0 lead at half time. Forest pulling one back in added time. And rather like the first half and second half here, Palace started very strongly. On the back foot here with Lambert trying to create. Grace Eyre now joining in the attack. Various options in the middle. Heppel is one of them. Well, there was plenty of pace on the ball. She just had to guide it and couldn't quite find the corner she was looking for.
Scan, Gracie, scan. Grace there, scan.
And Palace took the lead in the midweek Subway Women's League Cup tie against London City Lionesses. Ashley Veerden, after some questionable goalkeeping, it must be said. But the newly promoted WSL side scored 2 second-half goals to claim a narrow 2-1 win. Palace in the group with Leicester City, Ipswich Town and the Lionesses. Durham in there along with Liverpool, Sunderland and Sheffield United in Group B. What a ball that is towards Heppel. Grace Eyre joining in as well.
Stop the game, stop the game.
Heppel back for Stobbs. Trying to find room to unleash one. Not enough time there for Tolland to do what she wanted to, and the experienced challenge coming in, I think it's fair to say, just to slow Palace down. Durham were on the back foot there.
Becky! Becky! Becky!
Veerden. It's been a really good battle between Veerden and Eyre. Getting a little spicy as time ticks on. They just ended up tangled together there.
Sit in, Amber! Sit in!
Substitution for Durham coming off in the 21, Albert Stobbs. To be replaced by number 14, Becky Saliki.
Well, Beth Heppel's third goal of the season gives Durham the lead. Apologies for the technical issues here. We'll bring you the goal in a second. But it is Beth Heppel who has broken the deadlock. 10 minutes to play. And all of a sudden now Crystal Palace have it all to do. There was a Durham change after the goal as well. Amber Stobbs taken off. Becky Saliki is on in her place. And now their tails are up. McFarland with little support and with Swaby slowing her down all the while. Very good experience defending to stem the flow. This is Blanchard now. Quality has to be better for Crystal Palace. Pressure on Napier from the goal scorer Beth Heppel. Swaby taking a bit of a chance. Blanchard.
Someone hold in. Beth, just hold in for her. Hold in for her.
Cut out by Briggs. They have something to hold on to now, Durham.
Stop it. Stop it.
Something from which they can build.
Raise shoulders.
Veerden. Grace Eyre right with her all the way.
Open your shoulders.
Abby Larkin. Now they have options. Howitt's in the middle. Elise Hughes as well. And taken away by Sarah Wilson. Van Havermaet. Durham's coaching staff desperate that the spaces are closed down. But now they can gallop forward the other way. Lambert. Happy to use up some time and wait for some help. And then she's caught, is she? Well, advantage is played. That's a wonderful hit, which was watched all the way by Yanez, who managed to get down to it. This was just pinged goalwards. Really well caught and held.
She's coming. Fullback's coming.
Veerden. Grace Eyre rekindling that personal duel. Was it a foul? No, it's a goal kick.
Go centre down the middle. You come down the middle.
And that just puts an added spring in the Durham step.
Coming off number 25, Layla McFarland. And she'll be replaced by number 6, Sarah Robson.
Another Durham change here and a couple for Palace too. We're going to see Sarah Robson. Layla McFarland has covered every blade of grass today, but was just looking like she was tiring somewhat on that last charge through. Kirsty Howard is off for Palace. Emma Watson on for the final moments. And Resha Littlejohn brings on her considerable experience in place of Abby Larkin. Palace have 6 minutes plus added time to try and save this situation. If it is to be a Durham victory, she's played her part as well.
Briggsy scan. Follow the runners.
Pumped forward towards Veerden once again. Wilson away. Shepherd claims it.
10 seconds. Stick your body in there. Come on, you've got to get something. Come on.
Hey, ref! Step two, step two.
Napier will throw it.
Everything blue! In more, in more.
Back to Schwabe.
Briggsy, shoulders open, see.
This is where when you're struggling in a game or you're behind, the time just evaporates.
Bare shoulder.
4 minutes plus added time. Van Havermaet for Schwabe again.
Up and out, up and out, up and out. Go hand, go hand. Go, Blakey, go, Blakey. Come on. Go, get something, Gracie, get something, Tish.
And it goes, and up and over it goes. Heart rate just sped up a little bit there for Tyler Tolland. Desperately clinging on to 3 big points here, Durham, against a side which has caused them a fair bit of bother in the past. In from Blanchard. So many in the penalty area, and the strike is wild. Rasha Littlejohn unable to find the target.
Briggsy, shoulders. Mickey, Mickey.
Well, she just wasn't set for it. Blake with the touch for Lambert. Palace needed at the other end. They don't need an error to give away a corner. Napier. Always seemed likely that a foul was going to happen there.
Roll in. Gray scan, gray scan, gray scan.
Head.
Step two, tight.
Closer, closer. Go for Blakey.
Hey!
Yes! Yes, Briggsy.
Move us up.
Blakey, Blakey. Great graph, you, well done. Lambo, Lambo. Go on, Blues.
Spin off Mac. Spin off Mac, Blakey.
Final minute of the 90.
Great climb. Blakey in the corner, time. Get it, Blakey. Gotta drop in.
Shepherd clears it.
Blakey, roll in then if Mickey's gone. Blakey, roll in if Mickey's gone.
Keep going back.
Here's Heppel. As it stands, the match winner. Trying to knock it through for Lambert.
Yes, Blakey, yes, Blakey.
Go, Blakey, on you. Go on, you got it.
Littlejohn.
Yes.
Still in. Roll in, ready. Get set.
Hughes. Littlejohn once again.
Gray scan. Blakey, connect. Step out.
Littlejohn once again. Moved on by Nolan.
The fourth official has indicated a minimum of 4 additional minutes.
4 minutes of added time as a minimum.
Come on, Blue. Come on. Save again. Play the areas. Come on. Get your body in there. Get us something, Blakey, in a second. Come on, here we go. Next one. Yes, Briggsy. Great header, Grace. Concentrate.
Blakey, one behind you.
Right shoulder, right shoulder. Right shoulder, Blakey, right shoulder.
One of the added 4 minutes played.
1, 2.
Get to the ball!
Blakey, go
Get
on.
to the ball!
Crystal Palace desperately pushing for something here. He came here trying to build on the positive result last weekend against Nottingham Forest.
That's blue as well.
But it's Durham who are positive here and having to defend strongly. Becky Saliki is down here. In fact, there are 2 down for Durham. The immediate concern being the number 14, who took a big hit there. Not long on the field. Been on for around 10 minutes. And obviously this treatment won't be rushed. There's a yellow card in the mix there. Quite possibly thrust towards Elise Hughes. Certainly to a Palace player. Every effort being made to make sure no risks are taken here. And obviously the added time is ticking away, but there'll be added time in added time. Does this break remove all the Crystal Palace momentum, or does it just distract from the Durham defensive effort? The main thing, of course, is the 2 players concerned seemingly are okay. So Briggs, okay to carry on. Saliki, okay to carry on.
Back in! Blakey, go side! Blakey, come on!
Forward by Shepherd.
Go and get the ball!
I'd suggest there'll be a good 2, maybe even 3 minutes added on at the end of this 4.
Step on! Go, Blakey!
But Palace have to produce something now, quite simply.
Not too early, Grace, not too early, Grace.
Go back, go back, go back! Ref, come on, you saw that.
Set up, corner! Set up!
Come on! Head the ball! Get right in!
Blanchard will go across to take.
Concentrate!
It is well and truly kitchen sink time here for Crystal Palace, throwing everything they can at Durham.
React! Pick up, ball, stay in! Follow the run! Stay in, follow the run! Volley!
And they've done it! Crystal Palace right at the death. Grab the equaliser to spoil Durham's party.
Come on, Durham, come on!
They have pushed and pushed in this second half until now without reward.
Hey, Durham, come on!
A goal of the last gasp variety. The pressure finally tells.
Go big, go big!
in from Sharp and swatted over the line by Elise Hughes. Just when Durham thought they had the 3 points within their grasp. How frustrating for the hosts. A 96th minute equaliser. Still there for Palace. Blanchard. Now Durham have to make sure they don't lose it. Veerden met by air. Hughes trying to cross it in, hoping for a penalty kick, and that is that. What an ending to the game for Crystal Palace. Snatching a point from the jaws of defeat. Durham had battled so hard and thought they finally had their day against Crystal Palace. The Wildcats have suffered so badly at the hands of the Eagles in the past, and they thought it was their day. Beth Heppel with the opener, Elise Hughes with a 96th minute equaliser. It turns out in the end to be a huge point for Palace, really. Going into added time, behind. They will settle for that on their travels. So close, and yet so far from a Durham point of view. Elise Hughes on hand to turn this home from Molly May Sharp's cross. Durham hearts broken. Crystal Palace with an all-important late point.